fall over, lose his balance. Yeah, I don't get too worried about it. When they don't give it to me, that's when I have a problem. Now, what you might find when you go to that opposite corner, that hind leg, oh, look at that, nice and relaxed. Just it's your leg. He just happens to be attached to it. Very good, outstanding. And what I like is it's funny sometimes when you work with that hind end, if you approach, we'll see what he does. If he will pick up the opposite hind for you. A lot of times they get confused because you picked that other one up and you've been messing with it, and they'll pick up the wrong foot, but they'll pick it up for you as you approach it. We'll see what happens. I imagine you've experienced that.
He just did that when I picked up his hind left.
Okay. I missed it. Sorry, I was looking at something else. Look at that. Picks it right up. Nice. He's not trying to kick. He's just picking it up for you, and that's exactly what you want. Look at that, nice, and he's relaxed, and you stretch that leg out. Very good job. And he's not tied up, didn't have to be. There he relaxes. There we go. Very good. Excellent job. Very good. All right. Let's go ahead and, rub him down a little bit. You can't get too much of that. And even later on, I go back to that at times, especially if they feel like they're a little bit skittish or just unsure or a little bit anxious. I'll rub them down a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Rocking that dock a little bit.
Yesterday, the rope got caught under his dock. And he thought he was going to freak out, and then he just dealt with it. So I pulled it all the way up into the base of his tail and just kind of tugged on it a little bit. And he did really well. He just stood there.
Good. Now, we didn't do that last time when we wrapped him up in the rope, did we?
No.
Okay, because that's the next step after we wrap him up. So you keep getting ahead of me.
Well, it just happened.
That's okay. You know what? When you have something like that happen and there's no really reason for it not to happen, and you didn't purposely do it, but there's an opportunity, take it. Take that opportunity and make it a learning deal because you're going to head there anyway. Yeah, you don't have to do things necessarily progress into it. If the opportunity allows you to do it, heck, do it. Perfect.
Okay. Good boy.
And we will put some significant pressure underneath that tail at some point. So, all right, it looks to me like you can probably halter him up after you give a little pressure on that girth. Yeah. Now, how many total saddlings have he had?
That's a good question. 5.
Okay.
There was the other day I was going to saddle him, and then he was reacting to me walking towards him with a blanket. So we just spent the whole day working on that.
Good.
And I could run up and then throw the blanket on him and then stop.
Very good. Yeah, you see an issue like that that needs to be worked on, work on it. That's absolutely the right thing to do. So good job that you've got good intuition like that, and that's what's impressed me about you. So keep that up.
Boy, yesterday I didn't halter him when I saddled him, but I can.
Just let's put the saddle on him. Do what you wish. You brushed him out, obviously. I see little pieces of mystery laying on the ground there.
He's blowing up. He's a late bloomer.
Yeah. I would, if you can get that saddle and blanket on him without him moving off, that's absolutely fine. What I don't want to do is have him move off and get away from you while you're trying to do it.
Boy.
Very good.
Boy. Good boy.
So that licking, chewing, that's very good. Now this work that we're doing here is why we've got a reputation and you can call him a young horse. He is a young horse. He's not an 8-10-year-old horse. But when you're done with him, we should have him so that in a very short time with a little bit more riding, you should be able to put him in your string there and have him comfortable for at least a advanced novice rider to an intermediate rider, and that's what we've hung our reputation on, is getting young horses to do this. And I used to train, like I said, a lot of 2-year-olds before, but I've kind of gotten away from that. I can train a young 2-year-old without hurting them. You have to be extremely careful, but I don't know what somebody's going to do with that horse after they leave me, so I've kind of gotten away from that for the sake of the horse. I don't want anybody to hurt these horses, without, really taking care of them and thinking they can do what they want. So, but we've taken 2- and 3-year-old freshly trained horses and turned them over to novice riders, and they're still riding those horses today. This is, 15, 20 years later. Horses just get better if you maintain that training. Because are you a trainer?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because anytime you're around a horse, you're a trainer.
Yeah, you're training them to do something, right? You're either making them better, worse, or maintaining what they are at that moment. So yes, very good.
Good boy. Good horse.
How is he with the bit?
He's awesome.
Okay, good.
Yesterday he only raised his head one time, and then I stuck my fingers in his mouth and worked with him a little bit, and then he was great.
Okay, good.
Right, too fast.
And you've got a full cheek snaffle there for him, right?
No.
Hey, do you have a full cheek where you've got the bars that go up on either side of the rings?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna transition to that. So since you got him ready to go, we're gonna transition to that. We're gonna advance quite a bit today.
Okay. I'm pretty sure you have one.
And it doesn't even have to be the one where it's like the Myler bit that with a little roller type in the center. It can be even a broken snaffle at this point in this. We can go to that, and that's fine.
Okay. So I have a question about or bits in general.
Okay.
So my friend has a 3-year-old little Mustang, and she's been using a French link, a pretty wide diameter French link, and the horse has a really petite mouth. I'm looking at our bits, and we actually don't have a full cheek, but I'll show you what we have.
Okay.
Anyway, so the horse, she works with a bit in her mouth a bunch. She's always yawning and tonguing it and trying to get her tongue over it. She does goofy things with it. So she put a full cheek in, and the horse just split. So why do you choose the bits that you choose?
I choose a bit so that it doesn't nutcracker. So that, like, when you put those, you can take the bit you've got, and which one is that? Which kind of bit have you got in your hand? Maybe Jake can zoom in for us a little bit if he would. There we go.
I guess I'm holding it upside down.
Okay, that's actually not a snaffle bit. That is a curb bit because it has shanks on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the mouthpiece is irrelevant, whether it's a snaffle or a curb bit. If anything, if it has leverage on it, you see the top piece above the bit is a part of your oh my God, it's escaping me right now the name of that. Your purchase. Sorry, that's the purchase. And then the part below the bit or below the mouthpiece is your shank. Yeah. So anytime that you have got like that, because when you pull on that, you're going to make leverage, and you're going to pull more pressure on that horse's mouth than the pressure you have on the rein. So, for instance, if you pull 5 pounds of pressure with the rein, which is not much, you can increase that depending on the length of the purchase and the length of the shank. You can exponentially make a increased pressure in their mouth. So if you pull 5 pounds, on the actual rein pressure from your hand, you can pull 40 or 50 pounds on that bit because it's leverage. Because anytime you want to do work, you use a lever, you can put more work out than what you put into it. So, but the mouthpiece itself, now if it's broken and you can connect, or you can actually touch those two shanks together, the shanks and purchases, I'll bet you can push them together.
These ones? Yeah.
Yeah. So when you do that, there you go. See how you can put those right together? Now go ahead and put two fingers together, like the old Boy Scout sign, only use just two fingers, and put them between the mouthpiece where it breaks. There you go. Now reach down and now put those two shanks together, and just keep bringing them together. Now tighten it. Tighten it even tighter. Reach up to where the rings are and tighten it. And what's that going to do to your fingers?
Pinching them.
It pinches them, exactly right. And that's just two fingers. Now think about putting 3 or 4 fingers in there, the width of a horse's bars of his mouth. And what you're going to do is you are going to pinch and crush that horse's lower mouth.
I see. Yeah.
Now now look at the bit. When you do that, pull it tight, and look what happens to the top or to the middle side of the bit. What does it do?
It jackling up.
You bet it buckles and it climbs up, which puts pressure, and a very small piece of pressure, into that horse's palate. So if you imagine now that that's in that horse's mouth and you pull back on that reins, you're crushing or pulling hard on that horse's bars of his mouth, and you're nut like a nutcracker. You're nutcracker in that lower jaw and those bars of his mouth. At the same time, if you pull hard and it slips up, you're going to bang the roof of that horse's mouth with that broken link in that deal. A French link has two pieces that break, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to shove one of those up into the roof of their mouth, and they will move that. Now, this doesn't mean that a horse, just because they do that, doesn't have some palatability issues, or it just feels strange to them. So what I like to do is, if you go to the bit we were using, and we do a close-up on it, oh, he's going to try to steal the show and upstage you here. Pardon me. There we go.
Even with a French link, it's not necessarily more mild.
No, not at all. A French link, my argument is a French link will articulate in two places on that bit, and one will slide up higher than the other one, and you can go back and forth with them, right?
Yeah.
A French link is not a mild bit, in spite of what is advertised. They are not. You just proved that looking at how it worked in your hands.
Yeah.
So now grab the other one that we've been using, that's the Myler, and do the same thing. Try to take the two rings, because that is a true snaffle bit. It's got no leverage. It's only got a ring in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the one with the French bit you get, or French link that you had, is a curb bit. If you put that same bit, that same mouthpiece in the Myler like you have, then you would make that a snaffle bit, because it has rings and no leverage. So the mouthpieces are interchangeable. But if you grab now that the one was just got the rings, that's a true snaffle bit. But look at the mouthpiece. When you try to combine or put those two rings together, you can't do it, right?
No. Tendon.
And it just goes so far, which will not nutcracker or pinch that horse's lower jaw.
Okay.
And if you also look, it will articulate, but it'll only go so far up. It won't break and continue to go straight up and poke into the horse's upper palate.
Yeah.
That's why I like that. That's why I like that bit. It's a very mild, very gentle bit. And I do not care for using leverage on your horse to get control. If you're doing that, you don't have control in his mind. If you have to physically restrain him with something that is causing pain or discomfort, then you don't have proper training in that horse's mind.
Okay. So
what we want to do, though, is we want to prevent that bit from moving through that horse's mouth. And that's why we like the I like to start with, and I go right to the end of their training, and then just put a bit in like you have with the rings. I like to have that full cheek so that it does not drag through their mouth. You can pull their face over with it.
Okay, I see. So we need to get even a Mylar with a full cheek. This is a Mylar?
That's a Mylar, and that one, if you got what I like, you got the level 1 Mylar snaffle bit, and it's with the MD-02 mouthpiece. I've got all of the description of that I will put on our horse chat. I'll write out what it is and why I like it. There's 3 mouthpieces. There's an MD, which means Mylar bit 01, which is a little bit narrower of that barrel in the center. It's a little bit narrower than that. That is a 2, which is a medium, and the number 1 will make that break a little bit more. It'll make it so that you can kind of nutcracker it a little bit, but not very much. The number 2 is kind of medium, and the number 3 is very, very mild, so it won't go at all. I find that the number 2 works best because I can get that bit to fit most horses in that 5-inch mouthpiece width.
And you have a little bit more play without it breaking in their mouth.
That is correct. Absolutely. You can see it just handling it there, right?
Yeah.
Now, one thing about this, if you grab each side of that bit with the barrel, and we'll see if Jake can really get close to us here. Jake, if you can hold, if you can hold your hands right where they're at, and Jake can really get close, I want to show how this bit articulates so that you can get hold each side of the bit with your hand, with each hand. Put a thumb and a finger on each side of the mouthpiece. There you go. Now, with your right hand, just turn that without turning the left side. See how you can turn that bit and move that bit?
Mm-hmm.
You can pick up one rein up on that right side or the left side, and you can communicate to that horse's mouth with one rein only on that side instead of pulling it and then pulling the other side of the mouth. Now, you can do the same thing with the French link. Don't get me wrong. You can do that. However, when you have that kind of leverage, you have much more play and much more movement in there. And what do I say about less?
Less is more.
Less is more. Absolutely. When I whisper to you, you cock your ear towards me and you lean in. Mm-hmm. And you're listening more. If I scream at you, you take your head away from me. And so it's the same thing. It's less is more. The lighter and more subtle the communication that you have with your horse, the more he's listening to you, the more control ultimately you have. And that's what you want to have, is control over this 1,000-pound horse. Okay. So there's a lot of issues with this bit that I like.
And we just need to get this with a full cheek then.
You need to get that with a full cheek. Okay. And if you go down, what's your store out there towards the airport?
Towards the airport?
Yeah. There's a farm and ranch place out there.
Oh, Axton.
Yeah, it used to be called something else. I used to have a deal with them where I would buy 12 or 15 of these bits at a time. And I always bought the ones like you have in your hand because that's what finished horses would do. And I would sell them at clinics for what I had into them. I didn't make any money on them, but it was just for the comfort of that horse to get a better response. And you cannot believe the number of bits that I have. So I bought them by the dozen. I probably have given away, or not given away, but they reimbursed me for, 5-6 dozen bits over the years. And not everybody walks away with a bit at a clinic because they don't necessarily need it. But for those who really need it and have an issue, we put them in this bit. And this is not a bit that is a problem solver. This is a bit that takes problems away, but still allows the person to have control of their horse. So you're not over correcting or over working your horse with this bit, and that's what we're really looking for. If you put that Mylar in his mouth, you've got the curb strap on it. Will it pull through his mouth?
Let's see.
Because what I'd like to try to do is start the bidding process and now use the bit as a tool to start reining. Because we're going to start our reining right here on the ground. I just was working on a horse this morning. I was riding and got in here into the computer just a few minutes before we started. And I've got working two of them right now. One of them, it was about his fourth ride in the corral. And last night I rode him, or yesterday evening, and I noticed on his third ride, I asked him for a neck rein first, because I'm starting to teach that right off the bat. The first time I'm on their back, I'm asking for a neck rein. Last night was his third ride, and he started to respond to a neck rein in 3 rides.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, and that has to do with what we're going to do here next, partially. The other part is just being consistent with our cues. Okay, so now if you grab the right-hand side of that bit, or left hand, doesn't matter, and you pull back like you're going to have a rein on it and pull back towards the side, does that pull that bit through his mouth?
It stops at the corner, but it is, it's trying to, but it won't.
Okay.
See here. It won't. It does pull through about an inch, but then it doesn't, the O-ring doesn't enter his mouth.
Okay, so the curb strap is preventing him from dragging it through his mouth then.
Okay.
Okay, good deal. But we'll progress now, and if we run into a problem, then we won't do it again until we get you that curb strap. The full cheek snaffle. And you can probably get it down there. I can't remember the name of the place. Holy cow. I used to do everything through the mail with them.
Cenex.
Anyway, they've got Myler, and any of your Myler dealers there can get these for you. This is a Toklat, or you can go online and get it and have it shipped to you. But I'll get you the number on it, what I like. Anyway, you know what? I just realized something. I am all wet there. For the full cheek, they charge way too much. They'll build it for you custom made, and we don't do that. I'm going to have to box you I'll box you a snaffle, a full cheek snaffle. It may or may not be the Myler. It's going to solve the same issue, and I will send it to you. How does that sound?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, don't go buy it, because you're only going to use it a little bit, and I had to buy a guy a case of beer and take him a bit, and he fabricated it at his machine shop for me. Because Myler only wanted several $100s for that bit instead of what you could buy one, $65, $70, $75 over the air or over the internet, or a store. Anyway, okay, it looks to me like you've got that little tool that I showed you out there.
I do.
Okay, let's. We got a few minutes here. We're gonna work it, and we're gonna have you take the halter and take all of your stuff out of the corral, because we're gonna have him basically spinning in a circle, and we just don't want him hanging up and stuff.
Okay.
So let's clear your corral out. Now this is a very, very critical part of his training and how he will respond in the future. Now sometimes they get a little violent about this. They'll throw their head around. Sometimes they'll throw themselves down. They'll trip. They'll fall down. They'll get up. They'll rear up. This is something we don't like, but what we've done is we are teaching him to teach himself. And anytime a horse teaches themselves something, it is way, way better.
Okay.
What we're going to do now, if you can kind of zone in on her hands again, I built a piece of apparatus for Taryn. And
do you want the halter?
No, just take the halter away. We shouldn't need it.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I don't know if Jake is handy there at the keyboard or not. There we go. Now we're zooming in. On one end, I kind of built this with a piece of bungee cord that I bought, and it's heavy-duty bungee cord, and I wrapped it around the end, and then I got tie straps. There's 3 of them under one side, and I took some shrink wrap or shrink tube and heated it so that it would bind down on it. And I did that on one of the ends, and then I did it on the other end that's in Taryn's right hand that holds a snap. and that other end just goes through the saddle. Now, what it is the one that's in her right hand on the very end of it, that will